I actually left the university my final semester, had the internship in Pittsburgh, ended up getting a job with the same CPA firm, and then I ended up spending the next 3 years with them, giving me a background and experience I needed to start my first business very quickly after. Well, after my CPA career, I went on to start my first business at the age of 24, moved to Ohio with just a few $100s in a bank, created my first job, ended up going from one company to 60 companies, created over 1,500 jobs and employed over 3,000 people over the span of 28 years. And at that same time, I was able to help people also grow and become entrepreneurs. Some people call me a serial entrepreneur. I call myself somebody who loved to get involved in business. Well, to me, anytime you get an award, it's an honor. It's an honor to always be remembered, especially from your university in the past. So again, for me, it's just an honor, and I'm honored to be here and be part of this. I just think it's important that we stay connected to our university, make sure we take our stories back, and let many of the students understand, what we've done and what we've been able to do and how it can be done. And it's one of the reasons why I've always tried to stay in touch with IUP and Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Look, it's been an important part of my life, and it always will be. I've had the opportunity to come from a family where we didn't have much. I was able to live the American dream. I think that's so important. I want to see our children and grandchildren someday have that same opportunity. So me giving back is after really the country and the state giving so much to me. And of course, IUP is the starting point. So this has been a great opportunity for me. My goal as a U.S. Congressman is to continue to give back and make sure others have that same opportunity I had.
It is my honor to present the 2018 Distinguished Alumni Award to the Honorable Jim Renacci.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me back. I truly appreciate it. I'm humbled and honored to be here this evening. My life has taken me down so many paths since I left here, especially studied right here in this building late at night. I used to always chuckle. This was my way of getting away from the fraternity house and making sure that I could study. It was this building that let me do that. And look, I had traveled this path over the last 30 years with a lot of help. So I want to introduce a few people who helped me along the way. My wife, Tina, has been with me every step of the way. She was with me before I started IUP. We met in high school, and this year we'll celebrate 35 years of marriage. My son and daughter-in-law are here. My sister and brother-in-law are here, and my friends Jim and Barb. Jim and I met the first day I arrived on campus. I'll never forget that. I was dropped off by my parents back then. My parents were hardworking people. They wanted to get back. Dropped me off, left me over in War Hall, walked up to the second floor, got in that room, and I looked around and said, what am I doing here? And then I walked across the hall, and Jim was sitting there, and I asked him what he was doing here. But anyway, we've been lifelong friends now for 35 years. He and Barb have become lifelong friends with Tina and I, which I've said friendships are also born here at IUP. But most importantly, IUP took, and I've said this so many times, took an immature kid from Western Pennsylvania and transformed him into an independent man, which I think is really what IUP did for me, and I say that all the time. That's why I tell people it was one of the most important stages of my life. You see, in the Mon Valley where I grew up, there was only a couple of things you did when you graduated from high school. You either went to the steel mills or you went to the coal mines. And by the way, that's where I was planning on going until my mother convinced me to come here. And as many have heard, many graduates here, first-time college graduates, and I was the first in my family to graduate from college. But it wasn't really my first plan or my first decision. I really did want to go to that coal mine and that steel mill because I saw all my other friends doing it, but IUP actually gave me a different road, it gave me a different path, and it gave me a different start and a different direction. A direction really to this day, which I said IUP gave me the opportunity to start down a path to live the American dream, and I'm very proud of that. IUP jump-started my life with an education, with an internship, and the drive to succeed. It helped me become an entrepreneur who eventually, as you heard, operated over 60 businesses, created over 1,500 jobs, and employed over 3,000 people. Most people know me as a U.S. Congressman. They don't realize that I was an entrepreneur long before I was a U.S. Congressman. And that was because I always believed in giving back. I gave back to my community in so many different ways. I was a firefighter. I was on the Board of Zoning Appeals. I was actually the mayor of my community while I was doing owning and operating these businesses. So that was a starting point that I had, and it then eventually got me to the United States Congress, which is just another opportunity of a lifetime to be able to serve and give back after almost 30 years of growing and building businesses, but to take that information and really take it and serve the people here in this great country as a U.S. Congressman. Again, if you would have asked me 30 years ago if I would have been up here receiving the Distinguished Alumni Award at IUP, I would have never believed it. I probably would have laughed at you. I was a pretty good, I had a lot of fun here too. So those were all the good things that I remember. But I will never forget, and I'll never forget the direction that IUP gave me. I'll never forget that stepping stone and that starting point. I've always tried to come back when I could and help re-engage, and I'll continue to do that. Maybe when I have a little more time when I'm out of Congress, I'll do more. But again, I'm so honored to be here. I'm honored to be with you this evening, and I really do appreciate the award. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.